104.5, the team, your home for New York sports and Mohawk Army Navy. Thankfully, we're able to talk to Field Yates right now. Field, you made the smart decision, as I have an obnoxious head cold from being in Minnesota for a week.
I guess that makes up for it. For my decision, well, I guess it really wasn't my decision to be there. But yeah, what a week. I mean, listen, the weather was certainly one of the dominant storylines, but glad that the game itself on Sunday night really captured the spirit of the week. And what an incredible finish that was to the NFL season.
Yeah, Phil, I mean, we were all sitting here talking about defensive matchup, Matt Patricia versus, the whole Fletcher Cox and Schwartz thing. And then I didn't see defense until, the end of the game.
I tell you what, I mean, really, that was a Big 12 game last night, right? I mean, that's how it played out between the high-scoring, the high-octane offenses, all the unpredictable madness. We saw the creativity. Yeah, it really was just an incredible offensive performance, or perhaps a poor defensive performance. I guess it's a matter of how you evaluate and look at life.
It doesn't hurt Matt Patricia in any way. He's already locked into Detroit, right?
Yeah, this has no bearing on Matt Patricia's future as an NFL head coach with the Detroit Lions. It wasn't a great day at the office for the Patriots, but a reminder that Matt Patricia has earned his stripes over a long, long time, and this defense was, throughout much of the year, a strength of this team.
Field Yates with us right now, thanks to our friends at Mohawk Army Navy. Field, the drama, of course, has to be in there somewhere. Malcolm Butler doesn't play. What did you hear about this? Is there any chance he's still a Patriot next year?
Well, so a couple things. First of all, in terms of why he didn't play, all we got from Bill Belichick was it was a coach's decision. And let's be honest, now that the NFL season is over, it's not like Bill Belichick has a bunch of opportunities lined up to address the media. He will speak with them one more time at the beginning of this week, but I don't expect to hear from Bill Belichick beyond that for perhaps a few months. So this is a chance to be a story that kind of just goes right to the grave. In terms of whether or not Malcolm Butler is back with the Patriots next year, as an unrestricted free agent, the writing was basically on the wall last night when you see him just play one special team snap and not at all on defense. And there are plenty of excellent teams this offseason that would be interested in Malcolm Butler. And you got to figure at a position where teams often pay big in free agency, he will be the next cornerback to cash in.
So Malcolm Butler not going to be with his team. How in the world does Nick Foles go from being, one of the record-setting guys in a Super Bowl to going back to being a backup in Philadelphia?
Well, I'm not sure that he does. He's got a $3 million roster bonus that is due on the fifth day of the NFL 2018 league year. So certainly he could be traded before that time, because if he's not traded, it's a $3 million payout that Philadelphia will be on the books for. And at that point, if you've already paid him that, and his very manageable base salary, you might just keep him on the books for insurance behind Carson Wentz. But the iron is incredibly hot right now for Philadelphia to trade Nick Foles. I mean, they've got no second-round pick. They've got no third-round pick. They've got 3 fourth-round picks. But when you pick 32, I'm not saying that that's a bad thing. It's ultimately the greatest thing you could ask for. But obviously, you're picking at the back end of each round, and you've got less draft capital compared to previous years. Might not be a bad opportunity to try to recoup some of that draft capital via a Nick Foles trade.
Field, play front office executive. What teams do you think Foles would fit with best?
I think the interesting part about Nick Foles is I'm still not sure that people will be fully sold on him as a build your quarterback or build your franchise around him quarterback, right? I mean, there's been extended stretches of his career where he's been great. That 2013 season being the ultimate experience, and then yesterday's game and this postseason being another brilliant stretch by Nick Foles. But he's also been a backup for a long time. But I would say that a team that might view him might view their roster as solid enough that with a good quarterback, not a great quarterback, but a good quarterback, could make a playoff push. So Arizona comes to mind, and I wonder if Denver might get in the mix, depending on what happens with the Kirk Cousins talk, because I do expect the Broncos to be involved in the Kirk Cousins, whatever you want to call it, chase.
And Field, that was the weirdest thing. So we were on Radio Row, and you see Kirk Cousins start to do the rounds. And right behind him is Alex Smith, and then they were both gone. And then an hour later, the news broke that Alex Smith was headed to Washington. Was there any rumblings that this was happening, or would this catch everybody blindside-wise?
Oh, I mean, of course it caught everybody by surprise. The reality for these two players is that a lot of us expected a trade of Alex Smith at some point this offseason. However, you would have expected it once the league year began. In terms of, Kirk Cousins, then, I don't think that necessarily it's going to be, I think people thought that there's no way he's going to not be tagged. I think people expected him to get tagged and to stay with Washington at least the opportunity to negotiate a long-term deal. But for him to not be or for him to to basically be on the way out already, that much, a massive surprise.
Field Yates with us next to Mohawk Army Navy. Field going to the New York teams. Had a chance to sit down with Josh McCown. He says, I want to come back. It's if anything is going to happen to not have me be back, it would be the Jets. He's the Jets quarterback next year, right?
I don't know about that. No, listen, they could draft a quarterback. He could certainly pursue an opportunity elsewhere. No, I don't think this is necessarily a done deal that Josh McCown is back as Jets quarterback, although I would certainly consider him on a one-year deal.
Field, the Giants, we're looking at offensive coordinators. Are you hearing anything?
No, other than the names, I think Kevin Stefanski, the the Vikings quarterback coach last year, obviously the connection to Pat Shurmur is well documented, having coached together this past year, but nothing hard and fast yet on the Giants' offensive coordinator search. But you can imagine it comes into light here pretty soon.
Eli, with doing the dirty dancing routine with Odell Beckham Jr., was that the greatest moment of the Super Bowl?
It was one of the better highlights, better Super Bowl commercials, I would say, from last night. I certainly think that's got to be there near the top 10, near the top 5, maybe even the best one.
If I'm a Giants fan and I'm trying to dig past paychecks, that's got to make you feel good that they could work together on that level, right? That they're hanging out, reenacting Dirty Dancing.
Yeah, I wonder, when was that actually taped? Was that taped in the summer? I wonder when that got done, because if it was recently, obviously Odell Beckham Jr. is moving around pretty well.
It's a good point. See, Giants fans are getting excited for all kinds of reasons when you bring that stuff up.
That's right.
Field, Mohawk Army Navy brings you in, and we appreciate that, and we thank you for being our insider all year long. And if it wasn't too annoying, we'll start calling you again once football rolls in again.
Of course. We'll talk soon. Of course. I'd love that.